Look at the line outside any coffee shop at 8 a.m. It's not just people buying a drink, it's a population lining up for their daily medication. We are a society addicted to caffeine. We drink it to wake up, we drink it to work, and then at 2 p.m. we crash. We get the jitters, we get the anxiety, and so we drink more. We have been sold a lie. We believe coffee gives us energy. It doesn't. Caffeine works by blocking the chemical signals in your brain that tell you you're tired. It doesn't actually recharge your battery. It just breaks the low battery warning light. You feel awake, but your body is still running on empty. But what if I told you there is a better way? There is a root growing wild right now, probably on the side of the road near your house. It brews into a dark elixir with the rich body of a stout beer and the bitterness of an espresso. But unlike coffee, this drink doesn't borrow energy, it creates it. It feeds your gut, stabilizes your mood, and gives you a deep, calm focus without the heart palpitations or the afternoon crash. It is the Rebel's coffee. But before you grab a shovel and head to the nearest roadside, stop. This plant has a dark side. Botanists call it a bioaccumulator. That means it acts like a sponge for heavy metals. If you harvest this plant from the wrong spot, you aren't brewing a health tonic, you are brewing a cup of concentrated poison. Do not click away, because the difference between a toxic mistake and the ultimate survival drink is a simple rule I call the 50-foot zone. By the end of this video, I will show you exactly where to dig, how to roast it to perfection, and how to create the perfect drink to sustain your energy and even protect your health. It's time to meet Chicory. Welcome to Reclaimed Nature. To understand the true power of this root, we have to look at when it appears in history. It doesn't show up during times of peace and plenty. It shows up when empires fall. It shows up during blockades. It shows up in the trenches. Travel back to 1806. Napoleon Bonaparte is fighting half of Europe. The British Navy has blockaded the entire continent with the continental system. No ships can enter, no sugar, no tobacco, and worst of all for the French, no coffee. The cafes of Paris went silent. The nation was going through massive caffeine withdrawal. But Napoleon didn't surrender. He turned to the French countryside. He turned to a humble blue-flowered weed called Cicorium intybus. When roasted and ground, the root of this weed didn't just replace coffee. For many, it surpassed it. It was dark, it was earthy, it had body. It kept the French army marching when the coffee beans ran out. Fast forward to 1861, the American Civil War. The Union Navy blockaded the port of New Orleans. The Confederate soldiers were cut off from the world. Starving and exhausted, they did what the French did. They dug up chicory roots. They roasted them in campfires and brewed Confederate coffee. It was the drink of survival. And here is the fascinating part. When the war ended and the blockade was lifted and real coffee returned to New Orleans, the people didn't stop drinking chicory. They had grown to love it. They realized that the weed made them feel better than the expensive bean. Even today, if you go to the famous Café du Monde in New Orleans, your coffee is cut with chicory. It is a living monument to survival. If this root saved Napoleon's army and fueled the South, why isn't it on every menu in America? Why is there a Starbucks on every corner, but you have to hunt through the weeds to find chicory? The answer isn't about taste. It's about addiction. The modern coffee industry is built on a business model that needs you to be anxious, dependent, and coming back for more. Chicory is the one thing they cannot monetize. To understand why they fear this weed, you first have to understand how they trapped you. Let's be honest about what your morning cup actually does. When you drink caffeine, it doesn't give you energy. It performs a chemical trick. It blocks the receptors in your brain for adenosine, the molecule that tells you you're tired.
It's like pulling the battery out of a smoke detector while the house is on fire. The danger, the fatigue, is still there. You just silence the alarm so you can keep going. Meanwhile, caffeine whips your adrenal glands to pump out cortisol and adrenaline. You are triggering a primal survival response, racing heart, tense muscles, not to fight a tiger, but just to sit at a desk and answer emails. This creates a cycle called adrenal fatigue. You drink to wake up. The artificial stress wears off. You crash harder than before, so you drink again. Big Coffee loves this loop. They have engineered a society that needs their product to function. They sell you the sickness, exhaustion, and the temporary cure, caffeine, in the same cup. Chicory breaks that loop. Chicory is non-addictive, and that is a problem for them, because they cannot sell you a daily product if you aren't chemically hooked on it. Furthermore, chicory is weed. You cannot monopolize a weed. You cannot put a patent on a root that anyone can dig up with a shovel in their own backyard. So the industry did what it always does. It labeled the competitor as trash. They taught you that those beautiful blue flowers on the roadside are just nuisance weeds to be sprayed with glyphosate. They want you to destroy the free energy source so you have no choice but to buy the expensive one. But nature doesn't make mistakes. While they were selling you a stimulant that borrows energy from tomorrow, they were hiding a root that actually generates energy for today. But the secret goes deeper than just energy. What if I told you this weed holds the chemical key to your happiness? What if inside this humble root is a mechanism that naturally produces the happy hormone, the very same molecule millions of people try to buy in supplement bottles? And beyond the brain, what if it acted as a filter for your blood, scrubbing toxins from your liver while you sleep? You wouldn't just call it a coffee substitute, you would call it a medical miracle. Here is how it works. The secret is a compound called inulin. The root of the chicory plant is packed with up to 68% inulin by dry weight. Inulin is a specialized type of soluble fiber that your stomach cannot digest. It passes straight through to your colon intact. And there, it performs a miracle. It becomes a feast for your microbiome, the trillions of good bacteria living in your system. When your gut bacteria are fed inulin, they thrive. They produce short-chain fatty acids and signal your brain to release essential neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. 90% of your body's serotonin, the happy hormone, is made in your gut, not your head. This is the fundamental difference. Coffee creates fake energy by hijacking your stress hormones. It makes you wired, anxious, and jittery. Chicory creates real energy by fueling your biological engine. It stabilizes your blood sugar. It optimizes your digestion. It gives you a calm, sustained mental clarity that lasts all day without the crash. You aren't just drinking a coffee substitute, you are drinking a tonic for your mental health. And historically, herbalists used it to cleanse the liver and purify the blood, something your body desperately needs in a toxic modern world. But here's the catch. Because this root is such a powerful absorber, so good at pulling nutrients from the soil to feed you, it doesn't have a filter. It pulls up everything, the good and the bad. If you dig it up in the wrong place, that powerful inulin sponge will be full of lead, cadmium, and petrochemicals. And even if you find a clean root, if you don't roast it correctly, it will just taste like bitter wood. In the next minute, I will show you the simple Alchemy of Fire trick to turn this raw root into black gold, an elixir with the bitterness of espresso and the rich body of a stout beer.
The safety rule. Chicory is a bioaccumulator. It loves to grow next to highways, sucking up lead from exhaust fumes and chemicals from road runoff. Never harvest from the roadside. Follow the 50-foot rule. Walk at least 50 feet away from any paved road. Find a clean field, a forest edge, or better yet, grow it in your own garden. The harvest. Look for the brilliant blue flowers that open only in the morning. Dig deep. The taproot is stubborn. It clings to the earth. You want the thick, white root, not the leaves. The transformation. This is where the magic happens. Raw chicory root is bitter and woody. It is inedible. To unlock the flavor, you need fire. Scrub the roots. Chop them into small, bean-sized cubes. Roast them in an oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 175 degrees Celsius. Do not watch the clock. Trust your nose. You are waiting for the Maillard reaction, the moment the inulin sugars begin to caramelize. When your kitchen fills with the smell of dark chocolate, roasted nuts, and deep earth, it is done. The roots should be dark brown, almost black, and brittle enough to snap. The brew. Grind it just like coffee beans. Brew it in a French press or a pot. The water will turn pitch black. It looks like heavy crude oil, but it smells like heaven. It has the body of a stout beer and the bitterness of an espresso. When you take that first sip, you will feel something strange. You won't feel the buzz of caffeine. You won't feel your heart race. You will feel grounded. You will feel a steady, calm hum of energy rising from your gut, not falling from your anxious brain. This is what energy is supposed to feel like. The war coffee saved Napoleon. It saved the soldiers of the Civil War. And now it is here to save you from the modern grind. I'm the architect. Dig the root, roast the cure, and I'll see you in the kitchen.